This is not just politics. This is a case that has refused to go away. And now, a new voice has entered the fight. W.Rutø is speaking. And what he said is shaking things. He is not talking softly.
Wonderful people, viewers and subscribers. An update just dropped. From Kenya, Nairobi precisely. The government of W.Rutø of Kenya don't come out openly to say we are sorry for what we did to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in 2021. However, Nigeria government did not find peace since hearing this comment. Don't forget, they have a sleepless night when a high court in Kenya awarded Mazen Nnamdi Kanu compensation of 120 million shillings, which is about 10 to 15 or 20 million thereabout Nigerian currency. I don't know how much it is in Nigerian currency. Nigerian government went berserk. In fact, they went to African Union to report Kenya government of sabotage. Anyway, this is where we are today. The W.Rutø, who happens to be the president of Kenya, is saying that they are sorry. In fact, with two hands, he knelt on the ground, begging the Biafrans, Nnamdi Kanu, and every other person to whom it may concern. He says that the government of Kenya, the government of W.Rutø, and also the past government of Uhuru Kenyatta, that everybody have come together and they concluded that they need to apologize to the Biafrans for what happens. But this apology and whatever they are doing, this is, to me, I say it's like a medicine after death. Yeah. What happens after all these years of rigmaroling of going to court and this and that? If you are not in support of what Nigerian government did to Nnamdi Kanu or to the Biafrans, why not approach the international community? Why not approach the ICJ or ICC? Yes, of course, but they didn't do this. In other words, even all these, they are apologizing or whatever, trying to see a way they can clear their self or their face before the international community of allowing their country to be used in perpetuating such illegality. Still yet, they never convinced me that they are truly repented. No, they have not. Because if they are repented, I know the lines, or rather the avenues or channels they must follow to make sure that they seek redress over the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. But anyway, that's by the way, Ruto speaks out on Kenya action on Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. So that's on demanding his release. What really happened in this video, or rather in the clip you are about to listen, is going to marvel you. But let me not dwell much on what has been said. I want you to listen to this message is coming from our brother Ima Junior Realistic. I don't know whether now Ima Junior okay Nnamdi Kanu. I cannot say. But anyway, in any way you find this message, please endeavor to subscribe, like, share, comment, and share it to others so that they will also be they will be a partaker of what is happening in the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, as the Kenya have reignited their call for Nnamdi Kanu's urgent release or immediate release from custody. Anyway, let me not waste much of your time. I will allow you to hear, like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing. Follow us on all of our social media handles, and it shall be well with all of us. This one why don't they talk like robots? I beg, let's go there.
He is not hiding his words. He is pointing directly at Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the issue is clear. Nnamdi Kanu. Ruto says something went wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah.
He says back in 2021, when Kanu was taken from Kenya to Nigeria, the process was not properly handled. No full check. No deep investigation. Just action.
Yeah.
And now, he says he regrets it. That is a very strong statement coming from a sitting president. Leaders do not usually come out to admit regret on international matters. But this time, Ruto did not hold back. He made it clear that if proper investigation had been done, things might have been handled differently. That statement alone has opened a new conversation across political circles in Africa. This is not just about Nigeria anymore. This is now about Kenya, Nigeria, and international law. It is about how governments work together, how suspects are transferred across borders, and whether the right legal process was followed. These are serious matters that governments do not like to discuss in public, yet now it is being discussed openly. Many people remember when Nnamdi Kanu was brought back to Nigeria in 2021. The government called it a lawful operation. They said it was necessary for national security and stability. Supporters of the government believed the action was justified. But Kanu supporters said it was illegal and called it extraordinary rendition. Since then, the argument has never stopped. Now Ruto's recent comments have added new fuel to the fire. Because when the president of the country where the arrest happened says he regrets how it was handled, people begin to ask deeper questions. They begin to wonder what really happened behind closed doors. They begin to wonder whether everything was done according to law or whether politics was involved. This is why the issue has become bigger again. Not because something...
The internet is getting slower and slower and slower, so please, as it all the bokeh, call the kwabogona. You get the point now. Call the bokeh, call the bogona. Anyway, the message is very, very clear. That the government of Kenya, which is the government of William Ruto, said that initially, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya, the Nigerian government said it was a legal work, because they told us they are with the FBI and whatever to carry out that dastardly act on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and also the Biafrans, because what happens to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is exactly what we are talking about here now, because it affected all the whole Biafrans, both home and abroad. And there's nothing you can tell me that it's just Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and after all, he didn't speak the minds of everybody. Nnamdi Kanu controls over 60 to 65% population of Biafra land, if you don't know, including those ones who are not Biafrans. I repeat, including those ones who are not Biafrans. So what are we saying here? The message is very, very clear. And if anybody is still gaslight you to believe that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is guilty, my brother, tell that person to wake up from his or her sleeping slumber, because the matter way there for hand now, even the so-called Fulani government of Nigeria are afraid. They are afraid. We know that the power that be holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu down might not be the Fulani government. It might not be Tinubu. Tinubu have nothing. European Union hands in it, because there is an agenda going on in Nigeria as I'm talking to you right at this moment. There's an agenda going on by European Union, including United Nations. They are the real sponsors of insecurity in Nigeria. Quote me anywhere, and I will provide details and also evidence of what I'm telling you. Quote me anywhere. They are the real sponsors of what is happening. There's a bill they recently signed. The plans on how to Islamize Nigeria as a country. So European Union and the United Nations have been infiltrated.
To Kanu directly, but because a leader has come out to question the process that brought him to Nigeria in the first place. And when the foundation of a case is questioned, everything about that case becomes questionable too. Political analysts are now saying this could become a diplomatic issue between countries if it is not handled carefully. Some believe Ruto is trying to correct what he sees as a mistake. Others believe he is trying to position himself as a leader who stands for rule of law and African justice. Whatever the reason, his statements have pushed the Kanu issue back into international discussion. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, the government has remained firm on its position. Officials continue to insist that the government acted within its rights and that Kanu still has serious charges to answer. They believe the matter is purely legal and should be left for the courts to decide. But critics argue that the legal process itself has already been full of controversy and contradictions. This is why the case refuses to disappear. Every time it looks like the issue is fading from the news, something happens that brings it back again. A court ruling, a government statement, a protest.
Make it a habit. 7 minutes of Tai Chi every morning, all the way for 1 month.
Or now, a foreign president speaking about it. The story keeps coming back because the questions have never been fully settled. At the center of everything is one simple issue. Was the process right or wrong? If the process was wrong, then many people believe everything that came after it becomes a problem. But if the process was right, then the government believes the trial and detention are justified. This is the argument that has divided opinions for years now. And now with Ruto speaking again and calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release, the situation is entering another phase. A more serious phase. A phase that may move beyond speech.
Do you know that Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who poses a national threat by tapping the lines of the presidency, have been freed without no court order, without nobody interfering, without court even freeing him? Bola Ahmed Tinubu he abandoned the court order. He abandoned the court. If you ask them in the case of Martin Nnamdi Kanu, they will tell you let the court decide. National threat for tapping the line of national security advisor. A very big threat to any country who want to succeed. But Nasir El-Rufai have been freed without no court order. Without nobody said, I discharge you and acquit you. But Martin Nnamdi Kanu's case, who posed no single threat, who the same El-Rufai celebrated his illegal abduction, they are now waiting on court to decide his fate, after sending him to life imprisonment with a repaired law. And you want me to preach one Nigeria? Thunder!
And interviews into legal actions and international courts. And if that happens, the story will become even bigger than it is now. The situation became more complicated after the court decisions started coming in, and this is where the legal battle began to confuse many people across the country. On October 13th, 2022, the Court of Appeal made a decision that shocked many observers. The court discharged and acquitted Nnamdi Kanu legally. The decision meant he should no longer be held on the charges that were before the court at that time. Many people believed that should have been the end of the case. But it was not the end. The Nigerian government did not accept that judgment and quickly moved to challenge the decision. Officials argued that the Court of Appeal did not fully address all the issues in the case and that national security concerns were still involved. Because of that, the government continued the legal process instead of releasing him. This is where the legal situation became very complicated for ordinary Nigerians to understand. On one side, there was a court judgment that discharged and acquitted him. On the other side, the government insisted that the case was not over and that he still had questions to answer under the law. Legal experts began to argue on television, in newspapers, and across political circles. Some said once a person is discharged and acquitted, the matter should be finished. Others said the government had the right to continue legal action if there were other charges or if the Supreme Court needed to review the decision. So the case continued. Months passed, and the tension around the case did not reduce. Supporters of Nnamdi Kanu continued to demand his release, while the government continued to insist that the legal process must run its full course. Then another major development happened later. On November 20th, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. A decision that again shocked many people and brought the case back into national debate in a very strong way. After the sentencing, he was moved to Sokoto prison, far away from the southeast where most of his supporters are based. That movement also created another round of public discussion because many people felt the distance would make legal visits, family visits, and consultations more difficult. Again, the government maintained that all actions taken were within the law and necessary for security reasons. But his legal team did not accept the life sentence and immediately moved to appeal the conviction. The appeal process is now another major part of the case, and many people are waiting to see what the higher court will decide. This means the legal battle is still ongoing and far from over. At the same time, the political side of the issue keeps growing. The case is no longer just a courtroom matter. It has become a political discussion, a diplomatic discussion, and even an international human rights discussion in some circles. Different groups are now involved in different ways. Some are talking about the rule of law. Some are talking about national security. Some are talking about human rights. And some are talking about political solutions instead of legal battles. This is why the case keeps appearing in the news again and again. Now the international angle is becoming stronger, especially with W.Rutø continuing to speak about the matter and calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. His position has added international attention to a case that was once mostly discussed inside Nigeria. Political observers believe that if the matter continues like this, it may move beyond Nigerian courts and become a regional legal issue. That is where talks about the Ikawa's court started becoming more serious. If the case gets to the Ikawa's court, it will open another legal battle entirely, and the decision from such a court could put serious pressure on the Nigerian government depending on the outcome. So at this moment, the situation is in multiple places at the same time. There is the appeal against the life sentence. There is the argument about the earlier Court of Appeal judgment that discharged and acquitted him. There is the political pressure from supporters and activists.
Yeah.
And now there is international pressure beginning to build slowly.
Open your
All
eyes.
these things together are what make the Nnamdi Kanu case one of the most complicated and controversial legal and political issues in Nigeria today. And from the way events are going, the final decision on this matter may not come quickly. It may still take time. And until a final legal and political resolution is reached, the debate, the arguments, and the pressure are likely to continue. The situation is now at a stage where every move matters. Every court decision matters. Every political statement matters. And every international reaction matters. Because this case has gone beyond a normal court case. It has become a test of law, politics, and diplomacy at the same time.
Of course.
Many people are now watching quietly to see what the appeal court will decide next. Others are watching to see if international courts will become involved. And some are watching the Nigerian government to see whether there will be a political solution instead of a legal ending. For now, nothing is completely settled. And that is why the issue is still alive. Now the situation is moving into another phase. And this phase may be even more important than everything that has happened before. Because this is no longer only about courts and legal arguments inside Nigeria. It is now slowly becoming a regional and international matter.
Of course.
W.Rutø has continued to speak about the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and he has not changed his position. He keeps saying that the matter should be handled carefully and that the right legal process must be respected. He has also called for Kanu's release several times, and each time he speaks, the issue returns to public discussion again. When a sitting president continues to talk about the case of a man in another country, it means the issue is no longer ordinary. It becomes diplomatic. It becomes political. It becomes something leaders begin to discuss quietly behind closed doors. There are now reports and discussions that the matter may be taken to the Ikawa's court, which is the regional court for West African countries. Ikawa's Court of Justice is not a small court. Its decisions have affected governments before, and when cases get there, they usually attract international attention.
Yes.
If the case gets there, the argument may focus on how Nnamdi Kanu was brought from Ķenýa to Nigeria in 2021, whether the process followed international law, and whether his rights were violated during that process. If the court rules...
After this pronouncement by Ruto, and also after this apology, the next apology you are going to hear is from the government of Finland. Alexander Stubborn. He's going to tender a public apology the same way this guy did. Nigeria used them and dumped them. So this time around now, Ķenýa, what they're expecting to get from Nigeria is not what they are getting. That was why you see them now doing this open confession, as if it's from their heart. It's because the deal they signed have collapsed. Let us tell ourselves the truth.
That the process was wrong, it could create serious legal and political pressure. If the court rules otherwise, then the Nigerian government position may become stronger.
Of course.
So both sides understand that such a move would be very important. Meanwhile, inside Nigeria, the political side of the matter continues quietly. Some political leaders believe the issue should be solved politically instead of legally. They believe dialogue and negotiation could reduce tension in the southeast and calm the situation. Others strongly disagree. They believe the government must not negotiate and must allow the courts to decide everything. They argue that allowing political solutions could create a bad example for the future.
Yes.
So even among political leaders, there is no single agreement on what should be done. At the center of all these discussions is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many people are watching him carefully to see what decision he will make if the pressure continues to grow from both inside and outside Nigeria. A president in such a situation has to think about many things at the same time. Law, security, politics, international relations, and public opinion all become part of the same decision. That is what makes this situation very complex, because any decision taken will have consequences. If the government continues the legal battle and the courts uphold a conviction, supporters of Nnamdi Kanu will not be happy. If the government decides on a political solution and releases him, some people will say the government was pressured. If an international court becomes involved and gives a judgment, it could affect Nigeria's international image and legal position. So every possible path has consequences. This is why the government is moving carefully and speaking very little about the matter publicly. Silence in politics sometimes means discussions are happening quietly. And many analysts believe there are already quiet discussions happening in the background between different groups, political figures, and possibly even foreign governments. No one is saying everything openly, but the issue is too big for nothing to be happening behind the scenes.
Of course.
At the same time, Nnamdi Kanu's legal team continues to fight the life sentence through the appeal process. That legal battle is still ongoing, and the outcome of that appeal could change everything again, just like the Court of Appeal decision did in 2022. So the case is now standing on 3 different grounds at the same time. The legal battle in Nigerian courts, the possible regional legal battle at the Akawa's court, and the political discussions that may or may not be happening quietly. Any one of these 3 paths could decide how the story ends. But for now, none of them has reached a final conclusion. And that is why the case refuses to disappear. It keeps coming back into the news. It keeps entering political discussions. It keeps attracting international attention. Because the final decision has not been made. And until that final decision comes, whether from a court, from political negotiations, or from international pressure, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu will continue to remain one of the most talked about and most sensitive political and legal matters connected to Nigeria today. And from the way things are going, the final outcome may not only affect one man, but may also affect politics, law, and international relations in ways many people are not even expecting yet. What makes this situation more serious is that time is passing, but the issue is not fading away. Instead, it keeps growing slowly. More people are talking about it. More political voices are getting involved. More legal arguments are being raised. And more international attention is quietly building around the matter. This is how big political and legal issues grow over time. Not always with loud announcements, but with steady pressure.
Okay, my people, now here we will take back break. More of these videos is coming your way. There's a lot of videos to tell you. Do you know that Biafra have been found inside the Bible, the Holy Bible? Do you know about that? You don't know about that, right? Our next video is on that. Biafra have been found inside Bible. That name, Biafra, have been found inside the Bible. So just keep up to date. We are going to bring more news that is intriguing to you and to make you to know that we are truly on the right path, doing the right thing. So have a nice day. I'm a regular control to bless us. Happy Sunday, in case you forget. And today happens to be the 29th day in the month of March and in the year of 2026. We are moving forward. In that case, I rest my case on God.